don't have any Magic here in Cleveland. Let's see if they can take down the Orlando Magic tomorrow in the Magic Kingdom. Final one more time from Cleveland. Cavaliers win their 60th of the season. The Clippers split the season series for the fourth straight season with Cleveland. 127-122. Cavs win. Clippers on the way to Orlando. Next, Center Clippers Radio Network.
Clipper Nation. They had a chance. Alex Webb said, love the fight. Let's get it tomorrow. F said, legitimately upsetting game. I got to say, how often have we talked about the officials on here all season long? They got a pretty tough whistle in this ballgame. And by Ford and the F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150. Brutal loss. Next time on the LA Clippers iHeart Audio Network. Good to see Norm, though. It's where we raise our families, earn a living, enjoy life. Have a 20-point second quarter. It takes all of us. I know a lot of you guys are encouraged by that. Your Southern California Ford dealers are helping first responders with donations and support. It's tough to say. Kawhi plays, it changes the dynamic of the game completely. But obviously, yeah, you can make the argument, of course, they'd have a better chance. It takes all of us to turn heartache into hope. I think they were missing his defense a lot in this one. His low man defense. Zoo was so frustrated. And nobody knows that better than you, LA fans. This season is even more exciting. I didn't see an update from Amir Coffey yet, guys. Into a dome and in the wood. Into a dome redefines the way fans watch basketball. Yeah, you can make the argument that they got into it with the refs a little bit too much. Both things can be true. They got a tough whistle, but they also need to play through a little bit more. Like never before. It all starts with buying verified tickets to the next Clippers at Ticketmaster. Winnable. The official ticket winnable ball game. The LA Clippers and the NBA. Ticketmaster. Cavs made some key buckets when they had to have them. And that goes double for all the sneaker squeaks, celebrity sightings, and gotta win tomorrow against Orlando. Tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether you're into a dome or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than I like this from Scrim. This is college hour. Forget about the master's bathroom and a great kitchen. This is laying concrete. This is foundation up. Yeah, they could have really used Amir, who got hurt in this ball game. He was supposed to start. He didn't. And he ends up getting hurt. I do feel good about the matchup against the Cavs. I agree with you, Alex.
Hey, F570 LA Sports. The LA Clippers.
The game is ended.
Gather around, boys. Time to recap.
But the
Well, without Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers fought. They battled. They showed their heart, their grit, their determination, but they come up just short in Cleveland and lose 127-122 to the Cavaliers. Welcome into your post-game show. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we'll hear from Carlo Jimenez in just moments. But while we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Well, Carlo, we can't. Clippers just came up a little bit short against the best team in the Eastern Conference on the road in a game where they showed a ton of heart and will out there. And Norman Powell looked like pre-All-Star break Norman Powell in this one.
He was actually posing 4 points in this game for his arm. 5 threes and 4 assists. Just a great overall performance. And you think about that, I mean, the time the ball was in his hands, 39 minutes in this game, just 1 turnover. Not bad for Norman Powell, ability to take care of the basketball. But you said it best. I mean, no Kawhi Leonard in a building 5 teams had won. The Cavaliers now matching the Thunder for the best home record into the NBA. It was going to take a lot from this Clipper team, and they fought time and time again. And there are a couple Isaac Okoro threes from maybe coming away with a win in this one. Evan Mobley shoots 50% from three in this game. He's a 37% three-point shooter. But the Clippers defensively made the guards of Cleveland really work. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, 19 shots to get to 24 points. You look at Darius Garland, 14 shots to get to 19 points. He just made 5 field goals in this ball game, and 7 of his points came from the free throw line. I thought this was maybe one of the best games we've seen from Derrick Jones Jr. on both sides of the ball, and then Chris Dunn's defense. I mean, he was everywhere in this ball game, disrupting Cleveland time and time again. Only 1 steal at him, but numerous deflections in this game. If anything, should the Clippers take away from this one is they are a very, very good team. And even though they didn't have their best player, they fell by 5 to the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road. You never want to say, oh, loss is a good loss. But considering the circumstances for this Clipper team, overall, Adam, their fight was excellent. I mentioned it to you earlier in the broadcast, but Cleveland is the best fourth quarter team in the NBA in terms of scoring margin. In the 2 games the Clippers have played them, they have outscored them in the fourth quarter by 21.
Yeah.
Impressive stuff by the Clippers.
You know, this was a team and an effort tonight where you could see their identity remained intact. The fact that they had won 10 of 12 coming into this game, you could see the Clippers had been playing very good ball, and it wasn't just about one player. Even without having Kawhi Leonard, their best player in this ball game, they continued to play well overall and gave themselves a chance, and that's all you could ask for. And Chris Dunn, you mentioned him, even though he fouls out in this game, even though they got a tough whistle, he hits a big three-pointer late in this one in the fourth quarter. The Clippers did clamp down when they needed to. They made it interesting. They made the Cleveland Cavaliers have to work for this one and come up just 5 points short. But can't fault the effort, as I said earlier. I thought, aside from Norman Powell with his stellar 34-point performance in this one, you mentioned DJ there and Chris Dunn. You know, Bogey was very good. 6 of 11 with 16 points off the bench here in this one, Carlo. You know, James Harden, a little bit off from distance, but still had 24 points, still had 8 assists. You know, a lot of guys stepped up and gave everything they had in this ballgame.
Yeah, 8 rebounds for James as well. Ty Lue mentioned how he's a great defender against power forwards, and at times had to hold his own against Evan Mobley. It's a completely different game if Kawhi Leonard just plays defense in this game. I mean, even if he doesn't score the ball, just to have that extra player, because when Zoo had to rotate, the Clippers started the game with Chris Dunn on Evan Mobley to begin things. So definitely a game in which even Amir Coffey's length, maybe you miss a little bit, his ability to guard up at times for this Clipper team at his size. He plays just 3 minutes, went out with left knee soreness. Hopefully he's okay. Big numbers the Clippers have to be proud about, Adam, in this game. They were able to only turn the ball over 12 times against a Cleveland team that does force a good amount of turnovers. But you mentioned it in the first quarter. 14 first quarter points in fast break for Cleveland, Adam. They finished with 30 fast break points in this ball game. That's really the difference in this game. Cleveland just getting too many points in transition, and Clippers unable to get it going on the offensive, and a couple of tough droughts did them in.
Clippers end up falling late in the fourth quarter in Cleveland without Kawhi Leonard by a score of 127 to 122. I'll try to bounce back with Kawhi tomorrow in Orlando. Tip-off at 4, pregame at 3. Carlo Jimenez, great call. Talk to you tomorrow.
Talk to you tomorrow, Adam. Let's split this back-to-back and get on home. Let's go!
Coming up next here on the Clippers post-game show, we'll get to your second half highlights in your post-game box score. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
It takes all of us to turn heartache into
Yeah, guys, it was always going to be tough without Kawhi. But when you close like that and you see a game where you only lose by 5, man, that's a tough one. Tough one to swallow. It was right there. Well, here's the thing, old Dirty Dasher. You needed his defense. Go look at what Garland and Mitchell shot in this ball game.
Dan Patrick.
Commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver. Give me the wildest thing that you guys have considered.
The pace they play with, the way they push the pace, the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's impressive. They took advantage of Clippers' misses, always looking to get into their offense quickly.
It would be the equivalent of taking like 15 games off the season.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday morning, 6 a.m. Right
Hey, guys,
on LA's
Chris
own
Dunn had
World
13
Champion
points.
Dodgers.
He hit 3 3-pointers. He was 3 of 8. I don't think they lost the game because of Dunn. I don't know what you're talking about. F said Dunn made Garland a non-factor. Yeah, I mean, come on. He hit the big 3-pointer to bring it, I think, to within 4. Mark seems upset. He didn't know that heading into this game, that was the situation if the Clippers lose.
Los Angeles.
Sorry, they got a game tomorrow. Win in Orlando.
Clippers. Take us with you.
Clippers fall by 5. 127-122 was the final in Cleveland, with the Cavaliers ending up being on top. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is your Clippers post-game show. Tough on Clipper Nation. Didn't have Kawhi. Clippers didn't run out of heart. Didn't get outworked. They ran out of talent. And maybe just a few more minutes out there, and they would have pulled off the comeback. But the Cleveland Cavaliers were good enough to end up with the victory after a great fight from your Los Angeles Clippers, where they were down by 17 in the first half, just to cut it to 68-64, heading in to that third quarter, thanks to 20 points in the second from Norman Powell. Good to see Norm getting back to looking like himself. And coming out of the third quarter, the Cavs had some extended runs. The Clippers went through a section of time where they went almost 5 minutes scoreless in the third quarter, just like in the first quarter where they went almost 4 minutes scoreless. So they had about 9 minutes in this game of long stretches of just not being able to operate well enough on the offensive side. So the Clippers down 105-88 heading into the fourth. You would have thought, okay, the Cavs are going to run away with this one. No, the Clippers continued to fight. And here was some of that late in this ball game.
Steps through, kicks it down, far corner 3. Rattles in, 8-point game. Timeout, Cleveland. Norm's got it right wing. He dribbles, he steps through, he kicks it. Derrick Jones Jr., left corner 3. Rattles in. Harden, side step 3. It's up. It's in. James Harden showing out the Riz with a deep tray ball. The Clippers down 7, 35 seconds left. Harden finds Dunn. Pump fakes. He's wide open. They need this 3. They got that 3. 4-point game. 30 seconds left. 124-120.
The Clippers had the Cavaliers sweating a little bit late as they made them have to hit their free throws. Darius Garland would knock down 2 to put them up 5 with 13 seconds left, as the Clippers would fall 127-122 in Cleveland to the Cavaliers. We'll get your final box score next. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. It's frustrating, guys, but If you standings watch every day, ooh, it's going to be stressful. I'm going to do it. It's part of the job, but you just got to know they're going to change. As Alex Webb said, standings are in flux. It is a fluid situation. Tomorrow's a big one. I don't know what Mo is saying here. Shame on Ty Lue for the refereeing once again. There's a scam in the air as usual, friends. Huh? Well, to be fair, there's a few people saying that about Kawhi. Cardale. A few crazies. Saying, yes, there was a time just 2 weeks ago. People were saying, I think Old Dirty Dasher was saying, yeah, they're better without Kawhi. Free TV said it.
This is Colin Cowherd.
Forget about the master bathroom and a great kitchen. This is laying concrete.
The playoffs have already started, basically. So you lose a game, it's significant. No matter what the circumstances are, every loss is felt right now. I get the frustration after losing this game.
Colin Cowherd. Weekday mornings at 9 a.m. after Dan Patrick. Right here on your home of the world champion Dodgers.
Got to win tomorrow against Orlando. Clippers fall in Cleveland by a final score of 127-122 without Kawhi Leonard. They made a push late. Cleveland had to hit their free throws. But the Clippers simply didn't have enough in this ball game where they ended up shooting 48% from the field and 16 of 41 from the outside. That's 39% from three. The Cavaliers ended up 15 of 45 from distance, higher volume, but shooting just 33%. They shot 51%, though, overall from the floor. Clippers ended up with 14 turnovers, leading to 15 points. The Cavaliers just 10 turnovers, leading to 11 points for the Clippers. And the fast break points tell the story in this one in some ways. 30 fast break points for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Clippers with just 8 bench points in favor of the Cavs as well, 34-22. Points in the paint, 62-42 in favor of the Cavs. They were much better against Ivica Zubac this time out. Thought he was obviously frustrated out there, got a tough whistle, but just 14-13 for Big Zoo. Yes, that used to be considered a very good game for him still, but 7 of 14 shooting, and this is somebody who's been averaging 20 and 12 in the month of March. Jared Allen finished with 25 points and 12 boards. Evan Mobley had 22 and 3 blocks out there, plus 7 boards and 4 assists. As for the Clippers, they were led by Norman Powell with 34 points, 13 of 24 shooting, 5 of 11 from the outside, and got scorching hot in that second quarter where he had 20 of his 34 points. Ridiculous performance there, showing that Norman Powell is back to feeling good again, coming off first the knee injury, then the hamstring injury. It looks like we got peak Norman Powell back. So without Kawhi, he was able to get up 24 shots. If you're looking for a silver lining, it looked like Norman Powell was able to shoot himself back in a rhythm. Rest of the starters, Derrick Jones Jr. with 15 points. He got the start in this one, 5 of 8, 2 of 4 from the outside. He was one of their better players in this ball game. Defense was sublime as always. Chris Dunn, same. While he did foul out, thought he got a tough whistle. 13 points, 3 of 8 from the outside, knocked down a big three-pointer late. And they held Spida to 9 of 19, 24 points. Not terrible. Darius Garland was, for the most part, a non-factor. He was 5 of 14. He still had 19 points, but again, a very good job against Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland overall to give the Clippers a chance in this one. And a lot of that is Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn. James Harden ended up finishing with 24 points, 7 of 18 shooting, 4 of 12, 6 of 6 at the charity stripe with 8 assists to 8 boards. And Bogdan Bogdanovic, Bogey Ball, he had 16. 6 of 11 shooting, 2 of 4 from distance. Amir Coffey got banged up in this one, seemed to have a knee injury. We'll try to update you on that
coming up on Clippers Talk, as we're leaving you outside of Los Angeles until tomorrow, with the Clippers tipping off at 4 p.m. Pacific time in Orlando against the Magic. But in LA, don't go anywhere. We got Clippers Talk next. Without Kawhi Leonard, an undermanned, shorthanded Clippers squad did all they could, but lost in Cleveland by 5. Final score 127 to 122. Cavs over your Clippers. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland here on AM 570 LA Sports. Of course, the majority of the time now, when the Dodgers are on, we will be bumped to the Patriot AM 1150. But when they are not on, we're still here on AM 570 LA Sports. If you want to get on, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. Frustrating one, Clipper Nation. Winnable game in the end. They had their chances, even without Kawhi, even with being down 17. I think the reason they lost this ball game, though, was just a couple extended cold streaks by the Clippers, where in the first quarter, they ended up giving up a 19-7 run by the Cavs to end the quarter in 3 minutes and 38 seconds, where the Clippers almost went 4 minutes scoreless, and the Cavs went on a 16-0 run during that time. They started pushing the pace. They had 14 fast break points in the first quarter alone. They finished with 30 fast break points. But Clippers went 4 minutes scoreless. They had Harden, Amir, Ben, Batum, and Bogey out there in that lineup. They just couldn't generate, and they couldn't get any shots to fall. That's a frustrating stretch where they head out of the first down 37-25. Now, Amir Coffey was also lost with what looked to be a left knee injury. Hopefully nothing serious. We'll try to update you on that. But you're down 12 heading into the second after it looked like a close game early in the first, kind of back and forth, and then that 16-0 run. To start the second, though, it's funny. Norm missed a three-pointer. This may have been the shot that got him going because he tracked it down. Follow your shot, kids. And then took a tough fall-away three-pointer out of bounds on the far side that he would knock down. So he ends up getting one to go off his own extra opportunity created off the rebound. And then he was off and running. Norm dropped 20 in the second quarter, hitting everything. Long twos, multiple three-point shots, layups, just getting to his floater, getting downhill. Norman Powell looks to be back. If there is a positive to take out of this ball game, it is that Norman Powell looks to be back. Played 39 minutes and had 34 points, by far his best shooting performance since he came back after missing significant time, first from a knee injury, then a hammy. He was 13 of 24 from the field, 5 of 11 from distance, and had 20 of his 34 points in that second quarter. And the Clippers are right there at the half because of that outpouring or onslaught from Norman Powell. He had a floater to end the second quarter, and the Clippers, after being down 17, were down just 68-64 at the half. Norm gets an and one to start the third. Clippers down just one. Problem was, in what looked to be a back and forth third quarter to start, where the Clippers were down 75-74, well, guess what happened again? Another long stretch where the Clippers just couldn't get a bucket. Norm was missing. Zoo was getting mauled and getting a tough whistle out there. He was very frustrated. But I will say this. Overall, the Clippers have to fight through that a little bit better. At some point, you know you're not getting a whistle. Just play through it. But the Clippers ended up going almost 5 minutes scoreless after it was a 1-point game in the third quarter, down 75-74. So you combine that with almost going 4 minutes scoreless in the first quarter, 2 stretches combining for almost 9 minutes where the Clippers just could not get anything to go. To me, that's the difference in this ball game. They still had their chances late, but a real big turning point was Norman Powell went to the free throw line during that stretch in the third quarter where they couldn't hit anything, and he missed 2 free throws inexplicably. The guy who just had a 20-point second quarter. Harden had a couple of turnovers during that stretch. He had a couple of misses. Ben Simmons had a miss. And the Cavs go on, I think it was another 16-0 run, where by the time the third quarter is over, the Clippers are down 105-88, and the Cavs had gone on a 30-14 run to end the third. Those long stretches of scoreless basketball by the Clippers hurting them in this one. Now, did they continue to fight? Oh, damn straight they did. The game looked over multiple times in the fourth. And Mitchell hit a three-pointer to put him up 15. And I thought, okay, that's the dagger. Clippers made a little bit of a run. They got to 12. Donovan Mitchell put it away with that three-pointer there. Probably the game. No, the Clippers just kept fighting. Ivica Zubac got one to go. Isaac Okoro had himself a game. You may look at the final box score and go, oh, what do you mean, Adam? He didn't have 20 points. He didn't have some crazy quarter or anything like that. Yeah, but he doesn't typically score this much. He doesn't typically hit threes at this rate. Isaac Okoro went 4 or 5 from the field and had 3 made 3-pointers on 4 attempts for his 11 points. He's a defensive guy in this league. He doesn't do a lot of scoring. And sometimes those little things, a guy who averages just 6 points per game, going for 11, when your margin of error is so slim, somebody like that having a solid ball game can also do you in. Because after the Clippers got it to 111-98, he hit a huge 3-pointer with 8 minutes left to put him up 114-98. It just continued to give them a little bit of a cushion. Now, Norm came back with a bucket. Chris Dunn with a bucket. Norm with a 3-pointer. Hey, 9-point game. Darius Garland wasn't great, but he would get one to go right afterward to put him back up by 11. But then Chris Dunn hit a huge 3-pointer. It's an 8-point game with 5 minutes left. The Clippers are there. Jared Allen, I believe, got a dunk on the other end afterwards after Zoo had to step up to help. Left his man. Big throwdown, 10-point game. They get up by 11. They get up by 12 after Garland free throws. Derrick Jones Jr., big 3-pointer. This is the fight I'm looking for. Like, the Clippers could have packed it in so many different times in this ball game and just refused to. They're down 11 again at the 2:15 mark. After a Garland bucket, James Harden 3-pointer, 8-point game, 1:57 left. Jared Allen, bucket that made it a 10-point game. Derrick Jones Jr., 3-pointer. They're not giving in. It's a 7-point game with 1:18 left. And at the 32nd mark, it's a 4-point game after Chris Dunn hits another 3-pointer. They made them have to hit their free throws late. Garland would end up going 3 of 4 at the charity stripe. And that's how the Clippers lose 127-122. So I don't fault the effort at all. The Clippers had multiple opportunities to let go of the rope, and they wouldn't. I'm good with that. Them not being able to get a bucket within a 4-minute stretch, a 5-minute stretch, not even a bucket, a free throw. That is what killed them in this ball game. Their offense just going into deep slumps at the wrong time. But Norman Powell looked great. That's encouraging. Now, hopefully you get this version of Norman Powell tomorrow against Orlando with Kawhi back, and the Clippers can bounce back. Tip-off for that one's at 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get to your phone calls, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. I'm Adam Osland. After the Clippers fall in Cleveland, made it close, made it interesting. Without Kawhi, 127-122. You're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports.
Jan from Toyota here. Have you felt cooped up?
Can't fault the effort, guys.
Well, now until March 31st is the perfect time.
Clue said we want anyone not named the OKC Thunder. You know what? I got to run to the
So
bathroom.
you can get back out there and do the things you love, like strapping your bikes into the bed of a tundra to find some new trails. Too steep. Off-roading with your best buds in a 4Runner.
Woohoo! I feel alive again.
Packing a Camry full of plants to redo your garden.
Whew, my green thumb is back.
Loading up rods and reels into a Corolla Cross for a fly fishing trip.
I got one. Hey, sorry.
And hitching up the boat to a Grand Highlander for a weekday.
I haven't watched it in a long time.
Live out your spring fantasies with a new Toyota. Come in today.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. And
I got a question for you guys.
or choose chill because
The
that's
Cavaliers
free in your head.
are 3-5 their last 8 games heading into this one. The Clippers don't have Kawhi Leonard.
And the sound of that ice
How are you feeling if you're a Cavs fan? You won. Would you say it was an impressive victory, considering the Clippers were without Kawhi and they beat you with Kawhi? I don't know. The Cavs got some questions right now.
Forget about the master bathroom and a great kitchen. This is laying concrete. This is foundation up. They need stability. They need culture, and Pete provides
The
that.
Clippers showed me
I
something
think he's an excellent fit with the Raiders.
by not quitting,
Pretty good bet
in
that
this
a
game.
Coordinator
by playing hard
Colin Cowherd.
and just being out-talented. Barely. Barely. Yeah, the Cavs are at home. Like, they could have opened this game up and won it by 25-30. Clippers wouldn't let it happen.
Your home for the LA Clippers. LA Clippers. Take us with you.
Yeah, it's hard to say there's any moral victories this late into the season where the Clippers have just 8 games left in this 2024-2025 NBA regular season as they lose by 5 by a final score of 127-122. There's hard to say, or there's hard to find any moral victories this late in the year when you drop back into the play-in. But I like when I see a team that is without their best player continue to keep their identity intact. Their identity is being a defensive ball club. And they held down Garland and Spida for the most part. They play hard. That's their identity. I still saw a team out there that played hard. I still saw a team that didn't quit. I'll take that. It doesn't make up for the loss. It's still an L. But I'd rather see that level of fight than a team that just got run over without Kawhi on the road in Cleveland. Because that could have happened. Down 17 early on. They could have said, all right, pack it up. We got Orlando tomorrow. Scheduled loss. I didn't see that from the Clippers. That's not nothing. I think getting into a close game late, well, you can learn some lessons there. Getting into a tight, high-intensity game late where strategy is involved like it was, you can learn something there. And hopefully, it'll pay off to being a win next time out. So I'm not overly concerned about this loss. You don't have Kawhi. He's playing his best basketball of the season. And you almost beat the best team in the Eastern Conference. And Norman Powell looks great. And you have a chance to bounce back tomorrow against Orlando. Look, if they lose the game tomorrow, now they're in trouble. But we knew coming in, this was going to be tough to win a game against the Cavaliers without Kawhi Leonard. Ray says on the chat side at Clippers Talk on YouTube, Norm rounding into form just before the playoffs is huge. Man had that killer mentality in the first half. I mean, Norm was moving beautifully out there. God, he had a layup, I think, in the fourth quarter where it looked like he was fouled. It was like he was bouncing off defenders to get to the hoop. No call. But the way he was weaving between guys there, huge. I mean, what's more important? Look, again, wins are critical right now when you look at the standings. But if you're not getting the victory today in this one, And you knew that was going to be an uphill battle. What is, I should say, the next most important thing to see from this Clippers bunch? Well, it would have been Norman Powell looking like himself again, if you want some positive and encouraging signs and takeaways. Now, hopefully, this is a turning point for him. And he gets back to playing his brand of basketball, and the Clippers' big four is strengthened. That's what I'm hoping for. Some people are complaining about the calls. I brought it up a little bit. Clippers did not get a great whistle. Is that the reason they lost the game? I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say it's those one 4-minute stretch, one 5-minute stretch of going scoreless. You just can't go into ruts for that long against a team like the Cavaliers with their offense, best in the league, and hope to be able to hang with them. Ivica Zubac didn't have a great game either. And the Clippers have to play through it also. At some point, you have to realize, yeah, we're not getting calls tonight. It's probably not going to change, but I'm not going to let it affect my play. I thought they got into it a little bit too much with the officials. At some point, you got to almost accept it. Now you can challenge some calls, and they did. But outside of that, I thought there was a little bit too much bickering by the Clippers. It was looking a little bit like the Lob City days. They were known for getting into it with officials. That stuff can become a bad habit. And this late into the season, I don't want to see that. So, it's one thing for us fans to complain. It's another for the players on the court to complain. And I'll agree with Miss Shakes. Ivica Zubac, I thought he got into it far too much. Because at some point, it gets into your head. It affects your play. You're always thinking that I'm probably not going to get this call, or I can't believe I didn't get another call. You're late to get back on defense. You got to let it go at some point. You do. Law Murray on Blueski, who we had on pregame, pointed out the fast break points, as I talked about earlier. The Clippers being outscored in the fast break 30-8. The only game where the Clippers were outscored by more points on the fast break was against the Timberwolves 32-8 back on December 4th. The Cavs push the pace. You miss shots, they're getting out, and they're running the other way. Let's go to Arthur in LA. Arthur, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Oslin. What's up, Arthur?
Yeah. Hey, Adam. I just want to make a couple of quick points about, don't you think Kawhi should have played knowing that this is the quote-unquote tougher game of the two?
Well, the problem was this, Arthur. So it would have been 2 games within 48 hours because this was an earlier start today after the game that ended on Friday night in Brooklyn. And they're being overly cautious with Kawhi in his right knee because, I don't know, he hasn't been able to finish the last 4 years healthy. So they're going to treat it with an abundance of caution, and I don't think they wanted him playing 2 games within 48 hours. And that was the real issue, not so much about the opponent.
Yes, Al. Yes. And also to piggyback on a point that Harold from North Hollywood said a couple of weeks ago, I do agree with him. It's a lot of 3-point shooting today. I was looking back on Michael Jordan when in the 1988, I think he shot only about 30 3-pointers that whole season. Now today, that could be 2 games, let alone 82 games. You don't need a 3-pointer if you're up by 5. A 2-pointer would put you up 7, and that'll make it a 3-possession game. And if you miss, you're scrambling on defense because long shots lead to runouts for the other team, and you scrambling. What do you think about that point, Adam?
Yeah, in that particular.
It is a crummier today than it was, I'd say, about 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Well, here's the thing, Arthur. The reason they take more three-pointers is because the math. And it goes like this. So if you're shooting 33% from three, that's the equivalent of 50% from two. And 33% from three is actually below league average. So it's not even good. So it makes sense to take more of those shots. And really, they replaced a lot of long two-pointers have been replaced by a shot that's worth a point more. They used to take a lot of long twos all the time. Now they step back a couple of feet. Why not take that shot instead? It's worth a point more.
Yeah. Oh, well. There's no way. And still, I don't quite dig it, but.
All right. Well, I appreciate the phone call. And I get what you're saying about, up 5, you don't need a three-pointer. A two-pointer makes it a three-possession game there. I don't disagree with that part of it. Clippers ended up falling in Cleveland, 127-122 without Kawhi Leonard. We'll take a quick timeout. Looking for post-game audio from Coach Lou after this one. I don't know if I'll be able to get it because I don't know if Law Murray's in New York. We don't got anybody else on the beat with this team right now in Cleveland. Unfortunate. Clippers lose by 5 without Kawhi to the Cavaliers. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports.
It's where we raise our families, earn a living.
Clippers Talk, what's your name? Where you calling from?
But when disaster strikes, it takes all of us to come together.
Yep.
Make it home again.
What's your name? Where you calling from? Yep.
California Ford dealers are helping first responders with donations and support to the
What's your name?
Fire Department and California Community Wildfire Recovery.
Barry from Ohio.
Were damaged by the recent Los Angeles area.
All right, Barry, hold on. I'll get to you right here.
Are offering you employee pricing.
It takes all of us to turn heartache into hope.
I wonder if we got a Cavs fan.
LA strong. Built with pride.
Nothing compares to catching Clippers basketball IRL. And nobody knows that better than you, LA fans. This season is even more exciting with the Clippers moving to
This is such a short-sighted comment. I think Dunn shouldn't be allowed to shoot. Whether he scored, missed, or was open doesn't matter. He costs us 10 to 12 points per game, which is often crucial for the final result. First of all, Chris Dunn had 13 points and hit 3 3-pointers. Second of all, you're not accounting for how many points he prevents with the opposition because of his defense. He is a net positive. You want me to pull the plus-minus numbers for you? It's objectively true. He's a net positive out there.
There's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Sure, in a playoff series, if they keep leaving him open in the corner and he's never hitting them, he'll probably get pulled for DJ in the starting lineup.
Putting aside what it means for records and things like that. Incidentally, if you went to a 40-minute game,
Jay, how was I rude there asking for his name twice?
Like 15 games off the season.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday morning, 6 a.m., right here on LA's home of the world champion Dodgers.
I was trying to hear what he was saying.
You're listening to LA Clippers.
Clippers lose 127-122 in Cleveland to the Cavaliers. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Still looking for post-game audio and some quotes. I don't know if we'll be able to get any of that today. Let's hear from Barry in Ohio.
Hello.
Barry, what's up? What do you want to say?
What's up, Clippers? What's up, Clippers Nation? I think overall it wasn't wasn't a bad loss. The guys still showed fight. They played until the end of the game. How do you feel about the officiating and the reffing during this game?
I don't think the Clippers got a great whistle, to be honest. I also felt like they let it get to them too much at some point.
Yeah.
At some point, you just have to accept it. Like, okay, we're on the road. We're not getting a great whistle, but we can't let it affect our play.
Yeah, I've noticed that guys weren't running back. They were pouting, arguing about calls and stuff, and I've seen that. But overall, the guys showed fight. I think if they let us play physical and let us play our brand of defense, the sky's the limit. But if they're going to officiate where we're touching guys and they're not going to reciprocate the same thing when we play offense and not call fouls for us, it gets kind of difficult. But overall, I think it was a good win. Norm is back to pre-injury form.
Good win.
I mean, a good loss. I'm sorry about a good win, but
you're calling from Ohio, so I'm already suspicious, Barry, that you're actually a Cavs fan. But you're a Clippers fan in Ohio?
No, I'm a Clippers fan since the Lob City era. I grew up watching them, so I'm not calling as a Cavs fan. No.
Right on.
But yeah, overall it was a good loss. I think if Kawhi stays healthy and we play through those whistles and we're playing great defense, we have a good chance of making some noise in the playoffs. It all just depends on Kawhi, and I'm not too mad about this loss. I think the Orlando game is the most important game to get, especially with us losing this game. But yeah, if we stay healthy, we have a good chance of making some noise.
No, I think you make a good point, Barry. I appreciate the phone call. Don't be a stranger here. You ain't got to be alone as a Clippers fan there in Ohio. I'm sure there's plenty of you. 866-987-2570. But you bring up not having Kawhi and saying all we need is Kawhi healthy. Well, that's the reason it's not worth pushing him, even in a regular season game like this, where coming into this game, there was only 9 remaining. Now there's 8. I understand these are important games. Is it more important to win these games than having a healthy Kawhi in a playoff series? No. So you prioritize health over everything else with Kawhi. That's what it has to be. I know it can seem frustrating at times, but he wasn't going to play 2 games in less than 48 hours. He's not playing back-to-backs. He's expected to play tomorrow against Orlando. You got to go in with your eyes open and understand the situation. The goal is to have Kawhi healthy in the playoffs and him being able to finish a season healthy. Because I know a lot of Clipper Nation feels like this. You know what? It's one thing if we lose in the playoffs and we go out with our best player and we're just not good enough, that's one thing. But over and over again, not having Kawhi that final game and ending the season that way, that's what leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. Because you wonder what could have been. Because you feel like you were cheated by the basketball gods in a way. We haven't been able to see this team healthy. Their best player, a guy who you get him healthy in a 7-game series, you feel confident against anyone, be able to finish off the playoffs upright. That's been the problem. So I'm sympathetic to people who are wondering why he's out today against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you got to understand the big picture here. This entire season is about getting Kawhi healthy for the most important games in the playoffs. That's how you have to look at it. We've seen him against Cleveland. We know he's a difference maker. He had his best game against them just less than 2 weeks ago in a game they won it into a dome. We'll see him against Orlando tomorrow. More on that game coming up. after the Clippers fall without Kawhi Leonard, 127-122 on the road to the Cavaliers. I'm Adam Mosland, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports.
It takes all of us to come together and make it home again.
Your Southern California Ford dealers are helping first
I mean,
responders.
both teams had 10 offensive rebounds. I don't think they got killed there.
If your vehicles were damaged by the recent
The Cavaliers had 4 points, 4 second chance points. That's nothing. The Clippers had 12.
And make it home again.
LA Strong, built.
I don't think that's where the game was lost at all.
Dunks, dimes, and no looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL, especially at the new Intuit Dome, the official home of the LA Clippers. Intuit Dome open just in time for Clippers season.
I don't know that we know for sure. Patty Mills over Chris Dunn is just a non-starter. Patty Mills, he's not the defender Chris Dunn is. Okay, he might be he's a better three-point shooter. Is it significant based upon his last 2 years of three-point shooting? I don't know about that. Chris Dunn offers more. His defense, his defensive ability is more important. The difference in defense between Chris Dunn and Patty Mills is greater than the difference in offense between Patty Mills and Chris Dunn. That's the best way I can put it.
This is an invitation to travel to a place of breathtaking.
Maddox keeps asking the same question a million times. Do you think they could beat the Thunder in the playoffs? They're not going to be favorites. I think it'll be really tough. I think they have a chance if healthy. Orlando has a really good defense, guys. That's going to be a tough game tomorrow. No doubt about it. Even with Kawhi back. Their offense struggles, but when their offense is hitting, that's when Orlando gets really tough.
This is your home for the LA Clippers.
Clippers losing Cleveland by a final score of 127-122 to the Cavaliers without Kawhi Leonard, who they will have back tomorrow. Ghost brings up a question after the Clippers lose by 5. What's the point in resting Kawhi and playing everyone else 30-plus minutes on a back-to-back? Everyone's going to be gassed tomorrow. Just puts more strain on Kawhi. Well, because it ended up being such a close game, James Harden came back in. The game was winnable, so they ended up playing guys heavier minutes. Norman Powell at 39. Ivica Zubac at 37. James Harden at 35. It was close enough where the Clippers went for it. They had a shot. Couldn't get it across the finish line, unfortunately. The Cavs held on against a Kawhi-less Clippers team. I mean, I think if they were getting blown out, those minutes would have been down for all those guys, but they weren't. Credit them for battling. Credit them for fighting. Keenan says, even though we lost, we kept fighting and never gave up. But coaches need to do better. In what way? I don't understand how this one is on the coaches. I think the coaches actually had a pretty good game plan that gave the Clippers a chance to win a game without Kawhi Leonard. And the players did their thing. Norman Powell, look, there's a real good chance this game gets out of hand if Norman Powell doesn't drop 20 in the second quarter. That was their lifeline. Norman Powell got him back into it, down 17. He had a special performance in that second quarter and a good game overall with 34 points. And if this is what we're going to see moving forward, we're in good shape with Norm playing at this level. Lenny in Inglewood, one of my favorites. Lenny, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osland. Hi, Lenny.
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? You ended on a point I want to begin with. It just right now, it's about getting Norm back in form. If Norm is back in form, we looking good. And, you know, the chances of us beating the best team, the second best team in the NBA without Kawhi was already slim pickings. And then when we lost Amir, that wasn't looking good either. But we get Norm back in form, and we can still get so as of right now we're in seventh. We lost 6, right?
As of right now, after this ball game, they're in 8th. I'll give you the update right here. Now, there's a couple games going on later tonight. Minnesota and the Golden State Warriors are playing. Currently, the Clippers are behind both of them, but we got to be rooting for, here's what you want: San Antonio to win at home over Golden State, Minnesota to lose at home against Detroit.
Well, that's not a stretch. Is Clay Cunningham back?
I believe he's playing. Yeah, that's a winnable game for the Pistons.
Yeah, that's a winnable game. And so is oh no, not Wemby. Anyway, I don't care, man. As long as we got Norm back, I need Norm to have a big game. You know, so we're okay, man. We're okay. For the first time, I was a little bruised when we didn't win that game against OKC, but we're back. I want to see Norm back, so we're good, man. We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, like Lenny, they could have given up in this game and they didn't. To me, that's meaningful.
I know.
That's not nothing.
I totally agree. And Norm just went bananas. And that's what we need, man. There's just very few teams that have a third, you know, and Norm's the leading scorer, but technically he's still like a second or third option, but he can get you 30.
Yeah.
That's bananas, man.
Easy 30, light work 30.
Yeah, light work 30. I like that. So I think we're good, man. And then Ty Lue, you know, we always got some of the sleeve for the playoffs. So let's just stay the course. We're good.
All right, Lenny. Good to hear from you, my friend.
All right, brother.
Be good.
Good show.
Thanks, Lenny.
Yeah.
Clippers fall by 5. Spirited effort. Played hard. Played well for, I don't know, I'll say 39 of the 48 minutes. Just those 2 big stretches where they go 4 minutes scoreless in the first, just about, and I'm almost 5 minutes scoreless in the third. Probably what did them in overall, aside from just not having Kawhi Leonard. Beats a Zubats an off game, didn't get a great whistle. A lot of things going against them. And the Clippers still made it interesting. Kept you glued listening to this ball game with Carlo Jimenez on the call. So let's bounce back tomorrow, Clipper Nation. Clippers in Orlando with Kawhi back, taking on the Magic. They're a good ball club. Ignore their record. They've been banged up. When they're healthy, they're tough. They're one of the best defenses in the league. Top 3 defense, just like the Clippers. When they hit shots, you're going to have a tough game. So hopefully the Clippers bring their defense, and Kawhi on offense will certainly help. Tip off at 4, pregame at 3. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez on the call. As I mentioned, Big Brother Jake Warner. We'll see you on Wednesday back at Into a Dome. Here in the bank, our producer Daniel West doing a great job as always. I'm Adam Osland. We will talk to you tomorrow at 3 with your pregame show, Clippers in Orlando.